Hello students, myself Professor Ankur. I welcome all for the gate theory session of analog circuits. Today we are going to cover an important topic, BJT biasing circuits. So today we are starting with the fourth session on BJT and the topic is BJT biasing circuits. Let's go for it. So the first circuitry we are trying to understand here is fixed bias method. In the previous session, we have seen what do you mean by concept of operating point and what is the logic of stability along with the load line. So here we are trying to take a transistor with a circuitry combination and we are going to get the values of current and voltages by applying the KVL equation. So if you observe the device configuration carefully, it will be under fixed bias method where we are having a single battery and two resistances, RB for the base side and RC for the collector side. The emitter terminal is directly grounded. The current flowing on the input side is defined as IB and the current flowing on the output side is defined as IC. The input voltage here is going to be VBE and the output voltage here is going to be VC. So when I apply KVL to the input loop, I will get VCC minus IBRB minus VBE equal to 0. And with the help of that, I'm going to get the value of base current IB, which is defined by the equation VCC minus VBE by RB, where normally VB value is considered approximately 0.7 volts. And when you go for the KVL to the output loop, you have VCC minus ICRC minus VCE equal to 0. So you will get VCE value as VCC minus ICRC. Using this, we can also find out the different terminal voltages. If I want to find here the value of the base voltage VB, normally when I say VBE, it is the potential difference between the base voltage and the emitter voltage. Since here the emitter voltage is basically 0 because the emitter terminal is directly grounded, I can say VBE is equal to VB. On similar lines, when I say VCE, it will be VC minus VE. Here, the value of emitter terminal voltage is going to be 0 because the emitter is grounded. Hence, VCE will become equal to straight away VC. And the value of V, the third terminal, since it is grounded, the voltage value will be 0. So the second arrangement is basically a small adjustment in the first circuitry where you are putting a resistance at the emitter terminal. So if you observe this circuitry, the resistances are present for all three terminals. For the base side, we are having RB. For the collector side, we are having RC. And for the emitter side, we are having RE. So when I apply the cable to the input loop, I will get VCC minus IBRB minus VBE minus IRE is equal to 0. And we are also aware regarding the relation of IE is equal to IC plus IB. And for a common emitter configuration, the value of IC is beta times IB. So we can easily take IE as 1 plus beta times IB or beta plus 1 times IB. So using that relation in the first KVL equation that we have got, you can rearrange and you can get the value of IB as VCC minus VBE divided by RB plus 1 plus beta times RE. Now we are trying to go for KVL to the output loop. So when we go for the KVL to the output loop, we have VCC minus ICRC minus VCE minus IERE is equal to 0. When you shift all the negative terms on the other side, you will get VCC equal to ICRC plus VCE plus IERE. You can also take IE approximately equal to IC because IC is alpha times IE and alpha is closer to 1. So if I just neglect the impact of base current, which is very, very small, I can assume IE equal to IC. This is one of the features that you will be using when you go for sum calculation, where many of the times we are going to take IE approximately equal to IC because the data will justify that the beta value is very, very high. So with that concept, I can get the value of VCE, which is going to be VCC minus ICRC minus ICRE, or you can replace the value of IC as IE or IE as IC, depending on your requirement and convenience. On similar lines, we can find the terminal voltages. So VCE will be defined as VC minus VE. So VC will be VCE plus VE, and the value VB is going to be VBE plus VE. Now, when we go for the next logic of collector to base bias. So in collector to base bias, we are having a resistor present between the collector terminal and the base terminal. So here we need to understand an important point. The current coming from the top is defined as IC plus IB because at the node it is going to split independently into IB and IC. So when I apply the KVL to the input loop, you will have VCC minus of IC plus IB into RC minus of IBRB minus of VB is equal to 0. So rearranging this, either I will get the equation in terms of IB or in terms of IE. You will get the value of IE as VCC minus VBE divided by RC plus RB by beta plus 1. So this is the logic for getting emitter current. If I want to find the value of VCE, the value of VCE can be formed by value subtraction effect, where VCC minus of IC plus IB into RC, this subtraction result will give you the value of VCE. You can also get the independent terminal voltages by determining the thumb rule of VBE, which is VB minus VE, and VCE as VC minus VE. If I want to get the impact of stability factor for the given circuitry, the rule for stability factor is simple. Your SICO is defined as del IC by del ICO. So to define SICO, I need to get the definition of del IC by del ICO, which will land up to a condition 1 plus beta upon 1 minus beta del IB by del IC. If that is the case, where you get 1 plus beta upon 1 minus beta del IB by del IC, the understanding says that we want to differentiate the base current with respect to the collector current. So where is the base current? The base current is basically the current that is corresponding to the input current. So if it is the input current, I need to take the input equation and we need to differentiate it with respect to the output current IC. So the thumb rule for getting stability factor is that we need to get an equation for KVL to input. Once you get the KVL to the input equation, we will differentiate it with respect to the output parameter, that is IC. So you will automatically get the relation del IB by del IC. Take that value and you dump in the equation of SICO. So once you dump in the equation of SICO, we will land up at the value of SICO. So we had that input equation VCC minus IC plus IB into RC minus IBRB minus VBE is equal to 0. So once you differentiate it with respect to IC, you will get minus of RC by RB plus RC. And when you use that value of del IC by del IB by del IC and you substitute in the equation of SICO, you will automatically land up at 1 plus beta upon 1 plus beta RC by RC plus RB. So if you observe, normally when you try to compare the stability, as and when you are getting impacts of feedback in the circuitry, the stability factor will keep on reducing and the stability of the circuitry will keep on increasing. The last circuitry that we have here is potential divider bias. So in potential divider bias, you can see a potential divider arrangement with VCC R1 and R2 on the input side. Collector is having its resistance RC and emitter is having its resistance RE. So what we actually do here, the equivalent impact of VCC R1 and R2 will get replaced by its Thevenin's equivalent. So the Thevenin circuitry will be defined as VTH or ETH and the Thevenin's equivalent resistance will be defined as RTH. So if I want to get the value of RTH, it will be R1 parallel R2 and the value of ETH or VTH, that is your VR2, will be VCC into R2 divided by R1 plus R2. So now when I apply KVL to the input loop, I will get ETH minus IB into RTH minus VBE minus IERE is equal to 0. And I replace IE as 1 plus beta times IB. You will get IB value as ETH minus VBE divided by RTH plus 1 plus beta times RE. So the value of VCE will become VCC minus IC into RC plus RE. So this is how you get the relation for current IB. IB can be taken as a multiplier with beta to give you IC, and it can be taken with a multiplier 1 plus beta to give you IE. So once I apply KVL to the output loop as VCC minus ICRC minus VCE minus IERE equal to 0, you will land up at the value of VCE. So this is how the entire calculation can be done. We need to understand few points while solving sums on transistor. So if I want to get the current and the voltage for the transistor, you need to go for the two loop logic, input loop and output loop. We have to go for KVL equations, KVL to the input and KVL to the output. If you differentiate the input loop equation and then you use stability factor formula, you will get the value of stability factor. And if you use the output loop equation and rearrange it, you will get the impact of DC load line. So this is how we can interpret the four types of circuits. So if I want to go for calculation of stability factor for all the four circuits, I need to just take the input equations of all four circuits, differentiate with respect to IC, and you will get del IB by del IC. And when I substitute that in the basic formula of stability factor, that is 1 plus beta by 1 minus beta del IC by del IB by del IC. So automatically you will find the value of stability factor. I repeat, if you want to find the value of stability factor, you need to use the equation 1 plus beta upon 1 minus beta del IB by del IC. So if it is del IB by del IC, you need to differentiate the input equation of all four circuits with respect to IC. You will land up at the value of del IB by del IC. Take that value and dump in the formula. You will automatically get the value of stability factor. And all of us are aware the value of stability factor should be as low as possible so that we get maximum stability. So when I compare all four stabilities, I will get the impact of stability factor. Okay. Now coming back to small estimation which I can apply here in the circuit of potential divider bias. So if I assume the value of beta to be much higher, then 1 plus beta times RE will be much greater than RTH. So in that case, I can define the value of IC or IE as VTH minus VB by RE. If I can go for a standard assumption where beta RE is greater than 10 times R2, this is normally used for calculations of sums. I can again say IE value as VB minus VB by RE, where VB will be VCC into R2 by R1 plus R2. IC is alpha times IE, as all of us are aware, and VC is equal to VCC minus ICRC minus IERE. So these are small estimations that we can go for in the potential divider bias circuit. So as I've said earlier, that if I want to calculate the stability factor of the previous circuits that we have discussed, the standard formula for stability factor is 1 plus beta divided by 1 minus beta del IB by del IC. So if I want the factor del IB by del IC, the thumb rule is you apply KVL to the input loop, you differentiate the input loop equation with respect to IC, and you get the value of del IB by del IC. Take the value, dump in the formula, you will land up at the value of SI. So when I try to compare the different values of SI, we land up at fixed bias gives you 1 plus beta. The emitter bias will give you 1 plus beta upon 1 plus beta RE by RE plus RB. And finally, if I go for the potential divider bias, it will give me 1 plus beta by 1 plus beta RE by RE plus RB. So if you compare all four circuits, you will always get an improvement in the stability, because as and when you go for impacts of feedback elements, the stability keeps on improving. Statistically, if you see for different combinations of potential resistors and transistors, it is justified, or you can say it will be observed, that potential divider bias will prove as one of the best biasing methods for BJT, because it will try to give you a stability factor which is going to be closer to 0.